Good evening and welcome to the Board of Commissioners regular meeting. Today is Wednesday, November 12th, 2025. It is 6:33 p.m. City Attorney, would you lead us in the invocation and Pledge of Allegiance?
Yes, our Heavenly Father, we seek blessings on the tasks before us. Bless our efforts with clear insight, our deliberations with wisdom, our work with clarity and accuracy, and our decisions with impartiality. We pray that our work this evening will find favor in your sight. This we pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
City Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Mayor Brooks?
Yes, here.
Mayor Kerr?
Here.
Commissioner Taglerini?
Still here.
Commissioner McGeehan?
Here.
Commissioner
Available.
all are present.
Do we have an approval of the agenda?
I'll make a motion that we approve.
Madam Mayor, real quick, I request that we remove item 13C from my previous presentation in the workshop.
13C.
13C to be removed.
Anything additional? So then do we have an...
Probably remove a few of the items, the purchasing agreement, the human resources, and the communications manager. We can probably remove those three items as well.
The human resources, communications, and what was the...
The purchasing agreement or purchasing requirements.
And that is under...
Let me find it. So 11D and 11E.
Yes, but there's, the other one's not on here, is it?
Not seeing it.
No, I think that was just a discussion item.
Yeah.
So 11D, 11E, and 13C.
Okay.
11D, E, and 13C.
And item C from the consent agenda.
9C.
9C.
Placer AI software.
Okay,
That was already removed.
yeah, that was already taken out.
What about 9E? No, that's not, that's correct, that should
Yes.
stay.
Okay. So with those removals, do we have an approval of the agenda?
So moved.
The adjusted agenda.
Second?
A second?
City Clerk, would you call the roll?
Commissioner Taglerini? Commissioner McGeehan?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Kerr?
Yes.
Commissioner Gavayi?
Yes.
Mayor Brooks?
Yes.
The motion carried 5-0.
With no proclamations, next on the agenda is presentation, recognitions, water rescue incident.
All right, Mayor and Commission. Deputy Chief Mortalight will be presenting recognition awards for firefighters that responded on October 12th to the jet ski accident. I feel very uncomfortable sitting up here, but I'm going to turn it over to you.
All right, make sure this is good. So on Sunday, October 12th, our crews from Deer Beach, Marine 25, Medic 25, responded out to Johns Pass for a water rescue involving several jet skis and multiple injured persons. So upon arrival, Marine 25 was directed out past the jetty where they located several jet skis and 3 people that were injured floating in the water, 2 of which were pediatric and in critical condition. Marine 25 successfully rescued all 3 individuals from the water and brought them back to Don's Dock for waiting land units with ALS care. The patients were then transferred over to Sunstar units. They were indicated as trauma alerts for the children. Medic 25, alongside with Rescue 24 from Treasure Island and St. Pete Beach 501, provided ALS assistance during the transport of these patients to their respecting emergency rooms. Medic 25 personnel accompanied the male child patient, and Rescue 24 and St. Pete Beach 501 accompanied the female patient. The families of these young patients expressed their heartfelt gratitude for the quick, professional, and compassionate response for our on-duty crews. They submitted a written response appreciation address to Mayor Brooks and the City Commission, emphasizing the difference the crews made in this unimaginable emergency that they suffered. So at this time, I'd like to recognize and commend the outstanding actions of the Marine 25 and Medic 25 crew for the response to the recent water emergency at Johns Pass. During their swift, coordinated efforts, they directly contributed to the rescue and emergency care of 3 individuals, including the 2 critically injured pediatric patients. So as I call your name, please come up and accept your award. So the Marine 25 crew, Lieutenant George Hill. Driver engineer Eric Eblis. Firefighter paramedic Joey Calderero. And the 2 individuals that were on the medic
Pitcher.
that day.
Pitcher.
You think I've done this before? Again, the crew that was on the medic unit, firefighter paramedic Johanna Whitfield. And last but definitely not least, firefighter paramedic Kavara Service.
I'd also like to add, in true humble fashion, Deputy Chief Mordelite completely skipped over his role in that call, but he did respond. He provided command structure, command presence at the scene, and did coordination, so he was also a part of that call.
It is 6:40. We are going to take a 15-minute recess, and we will be back at 6:55. It is 6:55, and we are back in unadjourned. I don't know what that would be. Next on the agenda is public comment. Public participation is encouraged. If you are addressing the commission, step to the podium and state your name and address for the record and the organization or group you represent. Please limit your comments to 5 minutes and do not include any topic on the agenda. Public comment on agenda items will be allowed when they come up. If you would like someone at the city to follow up on a comment or question made at the meeting, you may fill out a comment card with contact information and give it to the city manager. Comment cards are available at the back table in the commission chambers. Completing a comment card is not mandatory. For any quasi-judicial public hearings that might be on the agenda, an affected person may be a party to a quasi-judicial proceeding and can be entitled to present evidence at the hearing, including the sworn testimony of witnesses and relevant exhibits and other documentary evidence, and to cross-examine all witnesses by filing a notice of intent to be a party with the Community Development Director not less than 5 days prior to the hearing. Do we have any public comment? With no public comment, next on the agenda is approval of the minutes. If the commission has had the opportunity to review the minutes, do we have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes as written.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
City Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Vice Mayor Kerr,
Yes.
Commissioner Taglerini,
Yes?
Commissioner McGeehan,
Yes?
Commissioner Gabayie,
Yes.
Mayor Brooks.
Yes.
The motion carried 5-0.
Next on the agenda is the consent agenda. I will read the items. A, approval of the 2025 Emergency Medical Services ALS First Responder Agreement Amendment 1. B, Recreation Management Software Agreement REC Technologies. C, amendment to the interlocal agreement with Pinellas County for water quality monitoring. D, FY26 Park Street lease approval. And E, Kimley Horn Letter of Agreement Impact Fee Ordinance. Do we have any public comment? Do we have a motion? Is there anything you would like to have pulled?
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve consent agenda 9A, 9B, 9D, 9E, and 9F.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
City Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Gabayie.
Yes.
Commissioner Taglerini,
Yes?
Vice Mayor Kerr,
Yes.
Commissioner McGeehan,
Yes.
Mayor Brooks.
Yes.
The motion carried 5-0.
Next on the agenda is public hearings, ordinance 2025-18, amendment to fees and collection procedures manual, second reading and public hearing. City Attorney?
Thank you, Mayor. This is ordinance 2025-18, an ordinance of the City of Madeira Beach, Florida, adopting a revised Appendix A, Fees and Collection Procedures Manual of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Madeira Beach, Florida, to provide for a change to the building permit fee waiver date, repealing ordinance 2025-13, providing for conflict, providing for codification and severability, and providing for an effective date. That was the second final reading of ordinance 2025-18. The attachment to the ordinance provides on page 151 of the packet, or 9 of 27 of the actual fee manual, shows that we're changing the date from September 26, 2025 to March 26, 2026, and that's the only change.
Do we have any public comment? Commission? Any questions or comments? Do we have a motion?
Move we approve ordinance 2025-18, amendment to fees and collection procedurals manual.
Do we have a second?
Second.
City Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Taglerini,
Yes?
Commissioner Gabayie.
Yes.
Commissioner McGeehan,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Kerr,
Yes.
Mayor Brooks.
Yes.
The motion carried 5-0.
Next on the agenda is ordinance 2025-19, C3 zoning district setback, first reading and public hearing. City Attorney?
Thank you, Mayor. This is ordinance 2025-19, an ordinance of the City of Madeira Beach, Florida, amending Chapter 110 zoning, Article 5 districts, Division 7, C3 retail commercial, Section 110-321 setback requirements of the city's land development regulations to reduce the front and side setbacks, providing for conflict, providing for severability, providing for codification, and providing for an effective date. That was the first reading of ordinance 2025-19 by title only, and I'm not sure if Andrew is going to give the staffing on this. Yes, okay. Andrew?
The city received a text and land development regulation amendment application requesting a reduction to the front yard and side yard setbacks in the C3 retail commercial zoning district. The proposed amendment would reduce the front yard setback from 25 feet to 10 feet. Also, the proposed amendment would reduce the side yard setback from 10 feet to 5 feet on lots less than 120 feet wide for multifamily temporary lodging units and mixed-use developments. For lots greater than 120 feet, the minimum side yard setback would stay the same, but the requirement of 33% of the lot width shall be reserved for side yard setback would be removed. An additional 5 feet of setback will still be required along the length of an entire shared lot line between a non-residential use and a residential use. This proposed amendment is consistent with the Madeira Beach Comprehensive Plan, Madeira Beach Town Center Special Area Plan, and the proposed Madeira Beach Master Plan. Located below are goals, policies, and objectives that support this proposed amendment. I think I went through that previously during the workshop, so I'll just keep it going. City staff recommends the approval of ordinance 2025-19, C3 zoning district setbacks. We brought it to Planning Commission for them to vote on their recommendation. The content stayed the same. There was just some wording that changed slightly to reference if it's like exactly like the certain amount of feet, like if it's exactly 120 feet, like the setback's different than if it was like 120.1. So just to clarify that, but it's still the same content. And then we also reference the corner lot. This is a requirement in our code where you need a minimum side yard setback of 10 feet for corner lots that are that have a street adjacent. So just, we have that in our code already, but we've been trying to put it into the zoning directly, so people don't have to look through it in a different section. We also, the applicant of this that requested for this ordinance is here tonight. Tom, is the applicant able to speak?
It is a public hearing,
Okay.
so absolutely, they'll be able to address the commission.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you. Yeah.
So we'll turn over for discussion.
Do we have any public comment? Commission?
I just want to confirm that this applies only to commercial C3 properties. And can you tell me again the impact this will have on residential properties that are adjacent to a C3 property?
I mean, it still would require the additional 5 feet of setback along a property line. I included a zoning map just to show you what's zone C3, just to give a better visualization.
So any buffering requirements that are required for commercial next to residential will remain intact.
Okay,
So
that's what I was looking for.
C3 is
Thank
along
you.
Gulf Boulevard and 150th.
Thank you.
Commission, any additional questions?
Page 174, rear yard setback. It's 10 feet except where the waterfront lots are, and a rear setback of 18 feet. So typically that 18 feet is because of the dead man that is holding the seawall back. There are times that a structural engineer can reduce that 18 feet and therefore bring the building closer to the seawall. I just didn't know if we could add a language in here that says it can be 10 if the seawall is designed by a structural engineer.
Marcy?
Yeah. I would have, we could definitely add that. As part of our protocol, we typically, if we do get an engineered design and it explicitly states that, in other areas of our code, we have that caveat that we can, and we can definitely, we can add that. I would have to, this is the first reading, so I believe we'd be able to just make that change, Tom, or add some clarification in.
Did you want to address the site issue, a line of sight or vision? When you reduce that structure, you put that structure in the rear yard 10 feet from the seawall, how it could affect the possible view of those next door.
Yeah,
Do you want to address that?
that's probably a bigger, the bigger
Yeah,
conversation
You still
there.
have to meet the visibility triangle. That's another criteria that has to be met, but this is another item.
So with the 18 feet, that would be what the primary structure would be held to. With the verbiage that you're adding in, then they would be able to shift it, the structure itself, closer to the water, which kind of, to Tom's point, typically we have a setback of 20, in our residential, 20 feet from the water, or 20 feet from the rear property line, or 25, 30, whatever it is. And obviously that is ideally to keep the structures kind of out, keep them kind of in line and not blocking, well, that gets a little tricky when you start reducing, when you start changing the setback on the rear water-facing properties. So we could, if we wanted to do that, we do have some other changes we need to make to the C3, C4 as a whole down the road. If we wanted to revisit the rear setbacks, that may be something for a bigger conversation if we're going to allow structures closer to the water. And if it's not just based on engineering.
Because it also, this ordinance was written based on the applicant's request that we reviewed and supported, but they didn't ask for anything really to the rear yard setback. The only little change there was to make it the actual number 10 instead of the word 10.
I'm just saying that 18 feet comes from the length of dead man. That's automatically, that's why it's 18 feet. And there are times that you want to come closer than 18 feet. And if you structurally can redesign it, then you should be able to come at least 10 feet. So I just want to put that out there and see what you guys think. Visibility triangle, that's another item that you have to address. At the corners, you just put your triangle and make sure that structure is still out of that visibility triangle.
Yeah, and when it comes to the rear yards and the visibility triangle and the rights that people have to the view from a neighboring yard, we've yet to really define that. Obviously, we use the visibility triangle with the intersection of streets and things like that, but it's not been something we've applied by rule to the rear setback. So we can discuss that, but that would probably be something we want to workshop for the public if we're going to allow structures to encroach on that.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
So do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 2025-19 C3 zoning district setbacks.
Second?
City Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Vice Mayor Kerr,
Yes.
Commissioner Taglerini,
Yes.
Commissioner McGinn,
Yes.
Commissioner Gavayi.
I don't know how to vote on this one, but just because I guess this will come back again, so I don't know if I should say yes or no. I mean, I wanted to move forward, obviously, but I just wanted to workshop that, so I don't know how to vote this one. Do I say yes? Because I do want it to move forward.
I think they're saying they would workshop that issue on a different topic or a different time,
Right.
or isolate that topic for a different discussion.
Okay, all right, yes.
Mayor Brooks,
Yes.
the motion carried 5-0.
Next on the agenda is ABP 2025-05 Beach Bar LLC Special Food Service Establishment 4 COP alcoholic beverage license with stated intent to sell beer, wine, and liquor for consumption on the relocated premises of Saltwater Hippie Beach Bar at 15045 Madeira Way, Madeira Beach, Florida 33708.
And I'll take it from here, Mayor. This is a quasi-judicial hearing, so there's some things I need to go over with you. First of all, the code requires me to give you a summary of the application, and I'm going to read that directly from the background of the memorandum prepared by Community Development Department. And that is pursuant to Land Development Regulations, Article 6, Division 6, alcoholic beverages, the applicant for APB 2025-05 is requesting authorization from the Board of Commissioners for the approval of a special food service establishment 4 COP alcoholic beverage license with the stated intent to sell beer, wine, and liquor for consumption on premises at the Saltwater Hippie Beach Bar located at 15045 Madeira Way here in Madeira Beach. The standards to be applied in this quasi-judicial hearing are set forth in Section 110-532, and they read as follows. When considering the alcoholic beverage application, the Board of Commissioners shall consider the following factors. Number 1, the extent to which the location and the extent to which the proposed alcoholic beverage request will adversely affect the character of the existing neighborhood. Number 2, the extent to which the traffic generated as a result of the location of the proposed alcoholic beverage request will create congestion or present a safety hazard. Number 3, whether or not the proposed use is compatible with the particular location for which it is proposed. Number 4, whether or not the proposed use will adversely affect the public safety. And number 5 states, no application for review under this section shall be considered until the applicant has paid in full any outstanding charges, fees, interest, fines, or penalties owed by the applicant to the city under any section of the code. The burden of proof as required by your code section 2-10, I'm going to go ahead and read that to you. The applicant shall have the burden of proof at the hearing to show by a greater weight of the evidence the application is consistent with the city comprehensive plan and complies with all procedural requirements of law. Conditions may be suggested by the applicant, the city, or any party, or may be imposed by the board, which are intended to assure consistency and compliance. The identity of the parties are Beach Bar LLC and, of course, the city. The order of presentation, since there are no notices of intent to become an effective party received by the city, it will be the city making a presentation first, and then Beach Bar, if any. I'm going to go ahead and read the quasi-judicial procedures. This is a quasi-judicial proceeding where the Board of Commissioners acts in a quasi-judicial rather than a legislative capacity. At this hearing, it is not the board's function to make law, but rather to apply law that has already been established. In this hearing, the board is required by law to make findings of fact based upon the evidence presented at the hearing and apply those findings of fact to previously established criteria contained in the Code of Ordinances in order to make a legal decision regarding the application before it. The board may only consider evidence at this hearing that the law considers competent, substantial, and relevant to the issues. If the competent, substantial, and relevant evidence at the hearing demonstrates that the applicant has met the criteria established in the Code of Ordinances, then the board is required by law to find in favor of the applicant. By the same token, if the competent, substantial, and relevant evidence at the hearing demonstrates that the applicant has failed to meet the criteria established in the Code of Ordinances, then the board is required by law to find against the applicant. At this time, I need to ask each of the commissioners whether or not that they've had any ex parte communications with the applicant that they need to disclose.
No.
All right, I'm seeing everyone shake no. Any conflicts of interest that either any of the commissioners need to disclose? No. Okay. So at this time, I need to swear in all witnesses. Anyone that's going to testify at this hearing, if you could stand up, raise your right hand. I'm going to swear you under oath. You swear that the testimony we're about to give tonight is going to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do. Okay. All right, thank you. So we'll have the city go ahead and present this application memorandum staff recommendation.
When considering the alcoholic beverage license application, the Board of Commissioners shall consider the following factors: the extent to which the location and extent to which the proposed alcoholic beverage request will adversely affect the character of the existing neighborhood. The property has the future land use designation of planned redevelopment mixed use and is surrounded by other properties with this future land use designation. The planned redevelopment mixed use future land use designation is given to properties located within the Madeira Beach Town Center Special Area Plan. This property is in the commercial core district of the Madeira Beach Town Center Special Area Plan. This district supports commercial uses and commercial mixed uses that are walkable. There are other nearby businesses that sell alcohol. A bar restaurant that serves beer, wine, and liquor would be an acceptable use for the property and would not adversely affect the character of the existing neighborhood. The extent to which traffic generated as a result of the location of the proposed alcoholic beverage request will create congestion or present a safety hazard. The Saltwater Hippie Beach Bar will be moving into a location previously occupied by the Brass Captain and Colette's Fashion and Swimwear. The former Saltwater Hippie Beach Bar is being demolished before the construction of the Beachmaker Resort begins. The Brass Captain was previously approved for a special food service establishment for COP alcoholic beverage license. The intensity of the alcohol beverage license use is not increasing since it is the same type of license, but there will be an increase in the number of indoor seats compared to the previously approved alcoholic beverage license. Expansion of indoor seating would be within the existing commercial structure and be replacing a previous commercial retail use. Since the increase in interior seating is within the existing commercial structure and replacing a previous commercial retail use, we do not foresee there would be additional congestion beyond the site capacity or present a safety hazard. Properties located within the Madeira Beach Town Center Special Area Plan have a reduced parking requirement that is 50% less than other areas of Madeira Beach. Included in the memo is the parking table from the Saltwater Hippies approved site plan. The parking info table lists the various uses in the shopping plaza and the parking requirements for each use. The proposed use would meet the parking requirements located in the Madeira Beach Code of Ordinances, off-street parking and loading. And I included the table in the memo just to show it, and it's done based off that 50% reduction. The next one is whether or not the proposed use is compatible with the particular location for which it is proposed. The brass captain was previously using this location and had the same type of alcoholic beverage license. The Saltwater Hippie Beach Bar has an active remodel permit and is making improvements to the existing structure that will not exceed the FEMA 50% rule. The proposed use would be compatible with the existing structure and with the zoning and future land use designations for the property. The property is not located within 500 feet of a church, synagogue, temple, or place of religious worship, public or private school, operated for the instruction of minors or youth recreation community center. Next one is whether or not the proposed use will adversely affect the public safety. The requested license is not anticipated to adversely affect public safety. For special food service establishment for COP alcoholic beverage licenses, the state of Florida requires at least 51% of the gross food and beverage sales revenue to come from the sale of food and non-alcoholic beverages. The previous tenant, Brass Captain, had a special food service establishment for COP license. The proposed request would not adversely affect public safety more than the previously approved alcoholic beverage license use at this location. And the next is no application for review under this section shall be considered until the applicant has paid in full any outstanding charges, fees, interest, fines, or penalties owed by the applicant to the city under any section of the code. The applicant Beach Bar LLC does not owe any outstanding charges, fees, interest, fines, or penalties to the city. Physical impacts to NA, and under recommendation, city staff recommends the approval of ABP 2025-05 Beach Bar LLC. Attached is the local application and the approved site plan from the building permit and the public notice mailing and posting that was mailed to the property owners within 300 feet and then posted at the property, library, city hall, and on our website.
So, Mr. Morris, are you asking that the the Board of Commissioners receive into evidence your staff report?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any questions from the commission to Mr. Morris?
Just one. Is there ever, I don't know if you know the answer to this, is there ever a possibility that both establishments would ever be opened at the same time? Or is one going to definitely be demolished before the second one's ready to go? And if so, would the license apply to both?
I mean, the license is tied specifically to the property.
To the new location?
But the applicant would probably be better to answer
Okay.
to
Sorry.
when one's moving into the other. But this one's specifically tied to that specific property.
Any other questions for Mr. Morris by the commission?
One more question.
Yes.
Have you received any notice from any neighbors?
There have been no notices of intent received by the city.
Okay.
Okay, I did verify that.
Okay.
Okay. So, Mr. Carnes, are you representing the applicant on this? Yes. Okay. All right. Now is your opportunity to cross-examine Mr. Morris about any of the testimony that he has given today. Do you have any questions of Mr. Morris before you present your application?
No, just a comment.
Okay, so hang on now. So does the city have any other witnesses that it's going to call? I'm seeing no movement over there.
No.
There's no other witnesses from the city. Okay, Mr. Carnes. Now is your opportunity to tell the Board of Commissioners anything that you wanted to tell them about the application for them to consider the approval.
Thank you, Tom. Bill Carnes, 400 150th Avenue, Madeira Beach, Florida. Andrew and staff, I couldn't have done a better job if I did it myself. I want to thank you for the opportunity. The Brass Captain, basically what we did is we took over Colette's, was a dress shop that was there for many years. Jerry's here with the Saltwater Hippie Boutique store, and we moved her down to the end, and we just expanded basically where Colette's was for the new bar. And to answer Commissioner Tagliarini's question, we are using some of the equipment in the new bar that's coming from the old bar and Frabata's. So they'll never be both open at the same time. And we'll be demoing that probably right when we're getting ready to open, as we're working away on the new building now. But I thank you for your consideration. Thank you.
Any questions other than the one that Commissioner Taglerini asked? Any questions for Mr. Carnes? Okay, I'm not seeing any. Thank you. Mr. Carnes, do you have any other witnesses that you wanted to call?
No, I don't. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So at this point, I'm going to call anybody in the audience, anybody from the public wanting to address the commission on this application. All right, I'm not seeing anybody. So we can go ahead and close the public hearing, Mayor, and you can consider the application and vote it up or down.
Do we have a motion?
I make a motion for the approval of ABP 2025-05 Beach Bar LLC.
City Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner McGinn,
Yes.
Commissioner Gavayi,
Yes.
Commissioner Taglerini,
Yes?
Vice Mayor Kerr,
Yes.
Mayor Brooks.
Yes.
The motion carried 5-0.
Next on the agenda is unfinished business. ITB number 25-13 Archibald Snack Shack.
I believe we can table this, correct? Since,
We need to give clear direction
Okay.
to Megan as to what the commission wants done. And just for clarification, I clarified with Attorney Trask that when we give her the direction on what to do as far as uncovering the flooring, the bid goes out to the entities that have already bid on the project. So you have to reach out to each one of the bids that you've already received and ask them to do an add-on bid. So I think our direction is to remove the subfloor enough to determine what kind of damage or structural repairs need to be made on the underside of the building. Would that be correct? I want to make sure that she knows. I don't want Megan to leave here and be uncertain. I want to give her clear direction. That way she's not spinning her wheels
yes,
on
that was
anything.
what was discussed at
Yep.
the workshop.
Yes.
Marcy, would you agree that that is a clear directive of what we would need to be able to determine the discussion we had up here during the workshop?
Yes, and what I think Megan, what I would envision Megan and I doing next is taking a square footage estimate of the subflooring, and because we've cut into it, we'll be able to give them a description of what they're getting into with that, and then reach out to the people who already applied and get a bid back from them for that.
Okay. Just to clarify, do you think we need to remove the entire subfloor or just sections of it?
Probably what we would do is I foresee wording it such that we overestimate the square footage and get a square footage price.
Okay.
And then I would want to be present while they're doing it. That way I could probably better expand or decrease what they get into, because some areas you're going to cut in, there's just going to be tons of sand there. Other areas are going to provide much more information. So we would want to, I think that's how we would approach it, and that'd be the best use. And it would be very particular to what we're seeing as we open it up.
Okay. So do you feel comfortable with that?
I do.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yep.
How long are the bids that you have already received, how long are they held to be valid? Is it 30 days, 60 days, 90 days?
I believe it's in there at 60, but I'll have to double check.
Okay,
So
because-
hopefully we'll be able to come back to you and have a price by the 25th special meeting, and then we can proceed at that point. And then hopefully we'll have more direction for the December meeting is hopeful.
So the
Kind
idea
of
is
a
to
tight
be able to make a decision before they expire.
Or we go back out to bid,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
it's uncomfortable.
When we pull the subfloor up, I expect we will be able to add more to their bid, so they'll be resubmitting it, which should hopefully maybe give it the next extra couple of months. We'll see, give them the opportunity, but hopefully we can keep it active.
Is there an opportunity if we were to go past the 60 days or whatever it is if we were going to present an award to the lowest qualified bidder and it had passed that 60 days to make that offer so they would be able to accept it or not accept it.
I will look to the attorney for.
So the answer is yes. The question is whether or not, they've committed to hold their bid open, and they can obviously say yes or no, that they'll do it, whatever, 90 days, 120 days down the road. But it is not our call. It's going to be their call.
No, but it's something we could request. I just would hate to go back out to bid for the same scope after we already have done that once.
Well, we know for sure that we don't have the hurricane straps in the bid, so that is an additional item that will be added to the scope. So it may get to the point where we may just have to void out the bid and then start over.
Start over.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any public comment?
Madam Mayor,
Commission, any additional comments?
yes, my only concern is that the decision should be based on a qualified registered engineer, structural engineer. You can't just use a contractor to give you recommendations.
I don't think the contractor's going to give recommendation. The contractor's just going to expose it so that we can then get a qualified engineer to look at it, which I believe we have in-house.
So once we get it exposed, I would foresee us probably reaching back out. I mean, we could internally review it, and if I feel confident, then we can go that route. If we get into areas where we're unsure, obviously I'm going to pull Kathleen and our building official to also take a look. And we also have Pannoni, who wrote the original structural analysis, and I'm sure to have them do a site visit for 2 or 3 hours and draft up an ad, we could absolutely do that. So I foresee us being able to get good and accurate information.
Okay.
So do we have a motion to move forward with this? I don't know that we need a motion, but do we need a motion for her to take that directive, or is us just telling her enough?
It all depends on how the record that you want to create.
I want a record. Do we have a motion?
I move that we move forward with the subfloor excavation
Bid.
bid.
Do we have a second?
A second.
City Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Taglerini?
Yes.
Commissioner McGinn?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Kerr?
Yes.
Commissioner Gabaggy?
Yes.
Mayor Brooks?
Yes.
The motion carried 5-0.
Thank you, Megan.
Thank you.
Thank you, Megan.
Next on the agenda is Resolution 2025-09, adopting an updated Madeira Beach Master Plan.
Mayor, I'm going to go ahead and read that resolution, okay?
Thank you.
So this is Resolution 2025-09, a resolution of the Board of Commissioners of the City of Madeira Beach, Florida, adopting an updated Madeira Beach Master Plan, repealing Resolution 02.21 and providing for an effective date. That was the reading of Resolution 2025-09 by title only. The active portion of the resolution provides as follows: that the Board of Commissioners of the City of Madeira Beach hereby adopts the Madeira Beach Master Plan attached hereto as Exhibit A. And Section 2 reads that the adopted Madeira Beach Master Plan shall be the concept plan upon which development regulation amendments, comprehensive plan amendments, and capital improvement program amendments will be influenced by. So I didn't read it in its entirety, but those are the action items in the resolution.
Thank you. So do we have a presentation or? Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
we have a short presentation just to give an overview of what's in the new master plan and the process and kind of the next steps from here. And for the record, my name is Hannah Schaefer. I'm an urban planner at Kimley Horn. I'm the project manager for the new master plan project, and I'm joined by Madison Parker, who was the lead urban planner analyst on this project as well. So we're going to be tag teaming the presentation tonight. You can go to the next slide, Andrew. So we did want to start off the presentation with a quote. This quote is included in the new master plan. It's actually one of my favorite quotes, and it's by a very famous urban planner and architect. And it says, "To love one's city and to have a part in its advancement and improvement is the highest privilege and duty of a citizen." And we wanted to include this because as we were going through this process, this quote just kept coming back to me as we were working on it. The enthusiasm and the level of input we received from not only the community, but city staff, commissioners as well, was really encouraging and really exciting for us. And we could feel that there was a lot of energy and excitement around this plan. So that's why we wanted to start off tonight, because it really resonated with us. So we really hope it resonates with you and the community members as well. So tonight we're just going to go over the project process and timeline, talk about what we heard through the community engagement, and talk about the key objectives and recommendations in the master plan, and then talk about the implementation plan and what's next. So as a reminder of what the master plan is, it really is the guiding vision document for the city for the next 5, 10, 20 years, and it really captures the community's vision, the city's vision, the commissioner's vision as well. And it also identifies priorities and projects to other agencies in the region, like the county, Ford, Pinellas, and FDOT as well. So it really is this guiding communicative plan for the city. So the process, we started this in April 2024. So the first phase of this was really our data gathering phase, and very heavy in community engagement. With any project we do, especially a project like this, we don't come in with any preconceived notions. We really want to hear from community members, elected officials, staff, what their challenges are, what they see the opportunities are, because data can only tell us so much. So it's really important for us to get out into the community by doing community workshops, pop-up events, to really understand what the community's vision is. So Madison will go a little bit more into detail about our community engagement strategy further in the presentation. And from here, this is where we start to develop our recommendations and goals. And we come back to the community and say, did we get this right? Did we understand you? Is there something that we're missing? So that was phase 2. And phase 3 is where we're at now, where we have this final draft of the master plan that has been checked by the city staff, checked by community members, and we feel really encaptures the vision. And I'll let Madison talk about the community engagement.
So as Hannah stated, community engagement really was the core of this master planning process. We had over a dozen touch points with the community, and that ranged from workshops, surveys, interactive maps that were hosted online, and we attended 6 pop-up events throughout the community during the entire process. And I just want to take a moment to say that, you know, many of you were attendees at these workshops, and we saw you at pop-up events, and you saw how much response that we got from the community firsthand. And you know, we're pleased to say that this was really an incredible opportunity, not only to start to kind of form bonds and bridge gaps between commissioners and city staff and with the rest of the community. So this was really, really fantastic to witness and be a part of. So by the numbers, we had 518 survey responses across 2 surveys. That's a really, really impressive number. And I can say, as the person who actually went through and read these responses individually, people had a lot to say, and these weren't just like one-word answers. These were fully fledged, well thought out comments regarding, you know, a range of topics in the city, and truly people took the time to answer our questions and respond to things that were important to them in the master plan process. The workshop attendees, again, very impressive. Across those 3 meetings, 147 people were able to pack out these chambers. I know for one of the meetings, we actually ran out of chairs. So that's a really impressive turnout, and kudos to you, and also to those community members who were in attendance for those workshops, giving us excellent feedback. The targeted stakeholder meetings, we met with FDOT, PSTA, Fort Pinellas. Very productive. They were very receptive to the work that we were describing to them and to all the recommendations that the community was giving back to us. We also had multiple interactions. At several different touch points, ranging from the Merry Market, the Seafood Festival, the Trash Pirates, beach cleanup. So we made sure that we were in attendance to a varied amount of pop-up events throughout the master planning process to make sure that we really captured people from all walks of life
to really get those good community-based conversations going. Since this was a truly community-driven vision for the master plan, we just wanted to put a couple of direct quotes up. These were directly from conversations we had, from surveys. These were also left on comment cards to us during some of these workshops and pop-up events. And as you can see, people had a lot of really good things to say. And truly, these are the kinds of conversations that help drive the focus areas of the master plan and help drive the vision for the entire plan itself. So with all those conversations, that really helped hone in and kind of drive these 6 focus areas. Of course, all these conversations were very important, and we felt that as we were developing this plan, it was these 6 areas that really were going to be the backbones of the plan. So now we're going to go into a little bit of each of those focus areas and talk about how these were laid out with overarching goals, objectives, and the strategies that created all those objectives. And I'm going to turn it back over to Hannah. Yeah, so I think one of the main things we heard from the transportation side of things was concern about safety, especially on the major roadways within the city, but also safety within those neighborhoods as well. So that became one of the objectives and priorities of the plan. We also heard a lot from people who want the streets to be more walkable and bikeable, making them, not only safer, but more comfortable to walk by providing shade or just more interesting streetscapes. I think it's no surprise that, Gulf Boulevard came up a lot. So Gulf Boulevard was a major priority for recommended improvements. And also parking came up a lot, especially surrounding special events within the city. So looking for opportunities, whether it's parking strategies or rideshare, or even a new location for a parking garage within the city. So the main objectives that are included in the master plan to achieve this overall vision for transportation, I'll list them out here, but prioritizing safer roadways within the city, increasing accessibility to neighborhoods and destinations, whether they're in the city or out of the city, improving those connections, supporting all modes of transportation. We heard a lot of feedback about wanting more bicycle connections out of the city to the Pinellas Trail or other cities nearby. And then lastly, establishing a citywide parking strategy. And the next focus area is new development and redevelopment. I think a lot of things we heard was no one was really afraid of new development. It was almost an exciting idea that new development can come in as long as it meets the character of the city and is located within those right areas. So those activity centers and those nodes of activity. So that way the neighborhoods are preserved and the scale is appropriate for those transitions into those neighborhoods. So aesthetics and quality of design was really important when it came to development and redevelopment. Also reducing barriers to redevelopment. That was a common theme we saw for the land development code. Right now there's some barriers in there to redevelopment, which I'll discuss on the next slide. Oh, you can go back, Andrew. So the main objectives for new development and redevelopment really center around controlling and conscious growth for the city and encouraging high quality design for new development and redevelopment, encouraging mix of uses within the city, especially in those activity centers and having those active ground floor and retail uses, and of course, maintaining and enhancing residential character within the city. So those land development code barriers I talked about, we did provide text recommendations as part of this process to the C3 and C4 zoning districts. And the primary goal was to reduce barriers for redevelopment. A lot of the C3 parcels are along Gulf Boulevard, which are very shallow lots. And the current setbacks that are there now are prohibitive for redevelopment, and also isn't getting the redevelopment or the development that the city really wants to see. It kind of results in that, front parking that you have. It's not a very walkable or aesthetically pleasing street to walk down. So updating the land development code to include things to get that desired development was really the goal there. The next focus area was economic and business development. I think a lot of feedback we heard really centered from the events that you all hold within the city. We got a lot of good feedback from not only residents, but people who are within the Tampa Bay region, but also people who come here to visit every year from New England and in the Midwest. So I think that's really exciting that you all have a destination that really drives economic development for your city and something that you can capitalize on, but also as a local attraction too is really important and something you should prioritize and lean on in the future. Another thing that we heard a lot was the desire for maintaining and increasing the number of mom and pop shops. I think we heard a lot that there used to be a lot more, and especially after the hurricanes, not a lot of them have come back. So how can Madeira Beach be a place where people want to open a local business or start a new business, and fostering that entrepreneurship in the city is really important. And of course, your biggest asset in your city is your waterfront. So really leveraging the waterfronts you have through paid dockage or just having businesses fronting the waterfronts will be really important moving forward. So the key objectives within this focus area, we're really focused on fostering revenue generating opportunities within city properties and right-of-ways, so those festivals and tournaments that you have, ensuring Madeira Beach continues to be an attractive place to start and run a small business. Next is capitalize on natural assets to foster economic ventures, and continue to program and add additional family-friendly events and concerts throughout the year, if that's even possible. I know you all are doing a lot right now, but that was very, very popular among the community engagement. And then lastly, develop a citywide economic development strategy as markets change, being able to anticipate how to draw those businesses and those incubators to benefit the city.
So this was a really important focus area for a number of reasons. Of course, both before and after the storms, there was a lot of conversation surrounding sustainability and resiliency. Madeira Beach is on a barrier island, so we are faced with a lot of these topics every single day, being in a community like this. So it was important to have these conversations in a very, direct, very open manner. Of course, we were open to having some of these harder discussions, like what does it look like, being on a barrier island, what is the future of Madeira Beach? And we really wanted to make sure that we kind of stewarded these conversations to really focus on what that future is. And for us and for the community, it really centered on being a sustainable and a resilient community. So the objectives under this focus area, of course, continue to implement hazard and flood mitigations throughout the city. Investing in those natural resources and upholding a strong commitment to environmental stewardship, creating a resource information center for sustainability and resiliency, and also upgrading public infrastructure to be more resilient. So within all of these objectives, a lot of the conversations that were had with the community were focused on restoring dunes, talking more about dune restoration and renourishment of the beaches, making sure that plantings that are done throughout the city are done so in a resilient manner, making sure that sea oats are put back on the beach, that native plantings are installed wherever possible. Also taking a look at installing green infrastructure, if there were to be projects, capital works projects, making that a priority to be more resilient. And next we have the parks, recreation, and public spaces. Madeira Beach is really fortunate to have such beautiful public spaces. Of course, you do have your beaches, you have beautiful Rock Park, and people really do want to have accessibility and highlight these spaces within the community, and they're very well loved and very well used. And so we wanted to make sure that in these conversations with the community that we were able to highlight a lot of these areas.
Those objectives included investing in the existing public facility spaces and recreational areas, expanding public spaces in Madeira Beach, which I believe you're already doing a very good job of, and also committing to preserving and improving the quality of these public spaces. So some of the conversations we had with the community range from perhaps increasing more of those green spaces, adding extra amenities to the spaces that already exist, potentially adding another dog park, expanding some of the amenities that are within the dog park. Also, making sure that people have access to these spaces was really important to the community, making sure that there's connectivity between it all. And this was a really important one for a number of reasons: beautification and placemaking. So you already have a beautiful city. How can you make it even more so? A lot of these conversations that we had with the community, they want to highlight it. They don't want to hide it. They want to see entrance signs. They want to see wayfinding signage. They want to see, signage introducing their neighborhoods. When you pull in, you know where you are. People really are proud to be from Madeira Beach, and they enjoy that sense of place here. And so we also wanted to make sure that we're highlighting that as well. So the objectives were to expand and improve the wayfinding system within the city, create a durable and sustainable citywide landscape plan, and also there's a little bit of overlap between a lot of these objectives. So this also goes hand in hand with sustainability and resiliency, but that is important to make sure that we are being mindful of any landscape plans going forward. Also creating more opportunities for unique and memorable attractions and expanding the public art and programming within the city. We did have a lot of feedback from the community that they really enjoy the opportunity to see more art on blank walls, or have a mural painting program in which members of the community can participate, perhaps painting the utility boxes or doing drain cover art. So people really can get involved in this area, in this focus area. So this is a really good opportunity to kind of forge those connections with the community. And then, of course, this is a really important one. How do we implement all of these objectives and strategies and recommendations? So the implementation of all of the master plan components can be broken down into a series of short-term, mid-term, and long-term timeframes. So all the strategies were assigned an implementation timeframe coming from one of those three categories. There was a list of priority projects for each of these timeframes. So in the master plan, you'll see that we have a list of, the top hits for the short term, the midterm, and the long term. And we really do want to make sure that these strategies are incorporated and the projects are woven into the city's budget and the CIP. And of course, exploring that state and federal funding and those grant opportunities, as well as partnering with our local agencies that are available to us, is going to be key in implementing a lot of this good work that's been done. And to further keep talking about implementation, when we went to the Planning Commission last week, they kind of asked us, how do we ensure this plan doesn't sit on a shelf? And trust me, there's nothing I hate more than, working on this plan for 18 months and seeing it sit on a shelf. That's not what we want. So we did want to touch on that tonight and kind of talk about what can not only the city or commissioners do, what can the community do as well to make sure everyone is accountable and that the master plan comes to fruition. So one of the ways is identifying funding opportunities, seeking out grant opportunities, and also seeking out those partnerships that Madison mentioned, partnering with Ford Pinellas. They have funding and staff who can help implement some of these recommendations. And since you are hopefully adopting this master plan at the end of the night, this is really communicating to Ford Pinellas and FDOT that you have projects in here that are a priority. So come time for them to maybe update 150th Avenue or Gulf Boulevard, they can reference this plan and see what you have in there. And it says, oh, we want a multi-use path on 150th Avenue. That kind of forces their hand to do that. So that is a good way to get those projects by partnering with other agencies too. And tracking progress, I think this one is key. And you can do that in several ways. I think the easiest, most public-facing way is having a community dashboard that the city can host and track certain things like number of permits issued or feet of sidewalk added in the city, whatever it might be that can be measured. It is a good tracking device to let the community know, hey, we're making updates, we're making progress on what we've identified in the master plan. And of course, you all are initiating a strategic plan, so that is a really good way to take what is in the master plan, identify what the priority is, how we're gonna fund it, and when we're gonna do it. So really making that come to fruition. And of course, the city departments should annually revisit the master plan and look at those phased projects and look at, okay, we're in this, 1 to 5 year time frame. What have we been checking off? What can we start to look at for the CIP or in the future to implement? And of course, most importantly is the community involvement piece. I think community members often get frustrated when they come do all this engagement and have these plans, and now they're like, okay, what can I do? I want to see this move forward. And Madison kind of touched on it. There are a number of things, from participating in murals or even attending, a Trash Pirates trash cleanup. It's really living the goals that are in the master plan by choosing those sustainable landscape plantings or reducing your single-use plastics, choosing to walk instead of drive to a destination. It's really living out this vision that the community has identified. And we did briefly talk about, some of those shorter term projects and also longer term, but we wanted to kind of highlight some quick wins that are included in the master plan that can be done, relatively quickly and more affordable, and then some of those longer term visions that might take a little bit longer, but they're still a priority. So some of the quick wins really surround updates to the land development code. That is going to be one of the more cost-effective strategies, as that really is just staff or consultant time and something you all can control with that process. And also conducting some of these other studies we've identified in the plan, like a safety study, a parking plan, Parks and Rec plan. These are plans that can identify opportunities or projects that can then be applied for other grant funding sources or can be incorporated into the FDOT work plan or the Ford Pinellas work program as well. So those will be important to do first, then you can apply for those other funding sources. And the long-term visions, we really heard a lot about expanding transportation options in the city and out of the city. We had a lot of interest in a Sunrunner-like bus, so that would be a partnership with PSTA further down the road, but something to still keep an eye on, as it was a priority. And you all are already doing bullet number 2. A lot of the things we heard was increasing the supply of city-owned property for public spaces. So I think that one will come sooner than later. So I think that's really exciting that that is a priority of the community and that you all have been listening to your community and are doing that process. And then of course, this one's really more continuous, is to encourage high quality development that really contributes to the economic vitality of the city and contributes to the character as well. So the next steps for this will be, we are seeking your approval and adoption tonight for the master plan, and then it really will be to implement the recommendations and continue to seek out those funding sources and partnerships, whether public or private, to implement these recommendations.
Do we have any public comment?
Hi, this is Bob Bello, 13301 Gulf Lane. Something they hit on, which I'm totally in favor and I'm very happy about, is they talked about beautification of the city. I think one of the things that they talked about, some quick wins and things along those lines. The number one attraction we have is the beach. What I will say, like something David did, he spearheaded the pocket parks. Those look amazing. You got the brick pavers, you got nice shrubs, they're upkept. But our beaches, which is our number one attraction, be honest, look like garbage. No landscaping, no nice signage. I think, we don't have a lot of the public beaches or public accesses. We got 10, a dozen. Maybe we could look at having, people kind of like sponsor one of the beach entrances, stuff like that. There's different ways we go about it, but I think we could do a much better job for the residents that use it daily and for the visitors, make it much more appealing than what we have. You look at what Indian Rocks does with their signage, with some of their beautification, head and shoulders above what we do. I drove around today looking, I really couldn't find anything that was appealing. And at least before the storm, we did have some things, like we had the boxes at some of the beach accesses that people could leave a chair or floats or this, that, the other. Just, I'd like to see that be a priority, and I think that's a low-hanging fruit that could easily be done. Thanks.
Thank you. Do we have any additional public comment? Commissioners?
I feel like we've got some things that we extracted right from your plan, which I love. I'm just curious, is there anything in our plan that would address the beach access beautification suggestion we just heard? Do you see, or would that have to be something added in?
I think you probably might have.
Yeah, I mean, we do touch on that. There is a little bit of overlap and a little coverage, especially with his mention of making sure that things are landscaped and making sure that's native plantings, they're salt tolerant, they're resilient, and also that goes hand in hand with even the beach renourishment, making sure that we participate in a sea oat planting, which Pinellas County does offer on a yearly basis. So kind of tapping into some of those local resources to address some of that, we do touch upon.
And I'm sure you know we're going to have a couple of town hall meetings to get input about our newly acquired property. How will you be able to incorporate those ideas, assuming that we adopt this plan, into the plan? Or is that going to be a whole new project? Oh, good question.
I'm not sure. I mean, we
Yeah.
could add it if that was your wish to say we choose to adopt this with the condition of adding any findings from that into the plan. But I do think any comments you might hear during that process generally, I think will still capture the vision that is identified in the master plan. But it's really up to your discretion if you'd like to add that in after.
For full transparency as well, Kinley Horn will actually be hosting the town hall meetings this Saturday and next Wednesday. So they'll get the information firsthand.
I thought staff was going to do that. so-
Staff along with.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, that kind of answers that. All right, thanks.
Great presentation, great job. Couple of questions. You touch on character, and I'm thinking just like our conversation with the snack shack. We don't want to lose the character of that snack shack. The character of Johns Pass Village. You mentioned character, but I don't see any specifics. I'm imagining that's a next step in creating the code that you mentioned. Is that?
Yeah, I
am
think
following you
something-
correctly?
Yeah, something specific we did call out as recommendation is to develop a lookbook of sorts so that you could provide this to a developer, someone redeveloping their property, and say, these are kind of the features and architectural characteristics we want to see that matches. And you could, strengthen your code to even require them or offer bonuses should they do certain architectural features or certain designs.
Okay,
So-
and I think that's extremely important, and the sooner the better, because, redevelopments happens all the time. The only second question is, you touch on mobility, the mini mobility and the trails, and the walkability and the golf carts, and how do you reach one end of the city to the other end of the city? I mean, do you have any concepts on that, without really going on Golf Boulevard?
There's really
how
not
do you do
an
that?
option. Yeah, in some way you have to end up taking Gulf
Because I think
Boulevard.
that's huge.
Mhm. Yeah, and it's your most important corridor, one of the most important corridors in your city, and it's probably one of the most dangerous corridors in your city too for anyone driving, walking, or biking.
Any concepts? I'd be really appreciate to see.
Yeah, we did include in the transportation section, this was a wish of city staff, we did include street typologies. We really didn't talk about it in our presentation, but we included a map and identified a street type for each street within the city and kind of provided some recommendations of, the lane widths, what type of bike facilities, sidewalk widths, any landscaping features to be included on that street. Should FDOT want to redo Gulf Boulevard, you can point to this and say, hey, can you incorporate some of these features that are in our master plan? And we do have some street sections too that kind of communicate what that vision is to help increase safety. And of course, we've identified safety studies for the major roadways where you can really pinpoint, those crash types, those crash locations, and how to address safety more specifically and partner with FDOT on that.
Right, where you can get away from Gulf Boulevard, that would be, there's certain areas you just can't.
Right.
But in most sections, I think, maybe
there's alternate routes.
There's a trail that you could,
yeah, and
you
I
could
think
make and highlight, because people love to get out and ride their bikes, and to stay off Gulf Boulevard.
yeah, and I think that's where the beach trail has been a real highlight and important concept that we've heard. Having worked on the Gulf Boulevard safety study in Treasure Island does have that piece where they have that trail, and it's probably no surprise that the pedestrian and bicycle crashes are a lot lower in that section because they have that alternate path.
Right, and if you can extend that over the Tom Stewart Causeway,
Mm-hmm.
it'd be awesome.
Yeah.
No questions, but great job.
So is there a way we can incorporate some maybe parking in future developments as an incentive? In other words, if someone has like a 1 acre or 2 acres of property and they would like to develop, obviously most often they would be building it up high and the ground level more likely would be parking, could be retail as long as they waterproof it. So would you be able to maybe in your master plan give some incentives for developments to provide additional parking for public? They could charge, they could charge for the spaces, but at least to Vice Mayor's request, you wouldn't have to necessarily drag people from one end to the other. You could have projects on Gulf Boulevard that will be coming up and we can enjoy this request or requirement.
Yeah, I think we do touch on that a little bit. I think, Andrew, you have it pulled
do.
up. Yeah, we do have recommendations to update the land development code to provide bonuses for things like parking or mix of uses. We did, in the updates we did to the C3 and C4 zoning districts, not to the level of public parking, but we did provide bonuses should a development choose to have parking underneath. They get a bonus for extra height.
Thank you.
So I have read every rendition we've gotten loosely. I thoroughly read this because we were going to vote on it. And what I particularly love is towards the end where it's the short-term goals, 1 to 5 years, or what we should always be working on, 1 to 5 years, 6 and going out. And so many of the things that are identified are things that we've talked about right here. And what I can envision in our strategic planning is going to pull straight from here. I think that you've hit on everything that this commission and I think the community definitely wants, is where you got the information. But having come on to the City Planning Commission, and the first thing I was given was the Duwani plan, which I thought was pretty cool. Lots of the aspects of it were really cool, right? But to now be sitting in a position to vote on something that will be implemented and knowing that we're scheduling to do strategic planning so that it will give a blueprint of how to take this and move it forward over the next 6 months, 12 months, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years is super exciting, especially since we just purchased a piece of property that is going to be, it is going to address so many of the items that the residents came and said they wanted. So I think, I'm happy that this is done. I think it's done at the perfect time.
Agreed.
Yeah, so I already asked for public comment. Yes. Do we have a motion?
I move that we adopt Resolution 2025-09, adopting an updated Madeira Beach Master Plan.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
City Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Taglerini?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Kerr?
Yes.
Commissioner Gabaggy?
Yes.
Commissioner McGinn?
Yes.
Mayor Brooks?
Yes.
The motion carried 5-0.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Yes. Thank you for selecting us, and thank you for trusting us with
Thank
the
you
master
very
Now,
much.
now the hard work really begins.
Yes.
Next on the agenda is the Board of Commissioners' regular workshop meeting start time approval if we're changing the time. So we discussed changing the workshop time to 2 p.m.
4 p.m. 4 p.m.
I'm sorry, 4 p.m.
Knowing that the finance
Right,
would be at 2
p.m.,
sometimes,
yes.
right?
So do we have a motion?
I move that we change our starting time for our regular workshops to 4 p.m.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
City Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Taglerini?
Yes?
Commissioner McGinn?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Kerr?
Yes.
Commissioner Gabaggy?
Yes.
Mayor Brooks?
Yes.
The motion carried 5-0.
Next on the agenda is contracts and agreements, approval of a strategic planning proposal. I don't think we need another presentation on this.
No, you're just gonna,
So we had 2 presented. Do we have a motion for? One or the other?
I'll make a motion that we accept the Kimley Horn Madeira Beach Strategic Plan Service.
Do we have a second?
Second.
City Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Vice Mayor Kerr? Commissioner Gabaggy?
Yes.
Commissioner Taglerini?
Yes?
Commissioner McGinn?
Yes.
Mayor Brooks?
Yes.
The motion carried 5-0.
Next on the agenda is approval of agreement with a lobbyist firm. Do we need any discussion?
Yes.
Yes?
So, just wanted to know the session for the House. I guess the Senate doesn't have an expiration date for this year's appropriation funds. But for the House, we have a deadline.
Yes.
When is that? Do we know?
It is
November 21st.
November 21st. It's next Friday.
November 21st. So our lobbyist, which will be approved tonight, will be engaged, I guess, December 1st.
So my thoughts on that would be, if we were to make a motion and vote and approve, I'm going to say Myers Consulting. The contract that was presented to us is effective December 1st. Can we make it effective tomorrow?
So the answer is yes, but while you're talking about that, there's another issue I want to bring to your attention.
Okay.
Okay. And that is that there's a provision in this contract that says that this agreement is going to automatically renew year to year unless terminated by either party upon 30 days' notice. I've always objected to language in contracts that say anything automatically renews. And the reason is because we get busy and we don't really think about them. We don't have a contract manager here in Madeira Beach, and so we won't know when this is coming up for renewal. So my recommendation, if there's no objection, besides changing the start date till tomorrow, that is to delete that provision that provides for an automatic renewal. Now, that's just my recommendation, but obviously if you want to leave it in there because you have a 30-day opt-out, you can do that too. But
So technically, we should be reviewing the contract every year and voting on it because it's over $30,000 for the city manager to sign?
So,
Yes or,
yeah,
or no?
no, the answer is no. I mean, once you do it once, you understand that it's going to be over
Renew.
$30,000 each year thereafter, so you don't have to do that. However, if you want to mark this on your calendar, I'm sure that the lobbyist is going to come to you and say, my contract's about to expire, kind of thing, and we need to address it going forward. And one of the things that it doesn't necessarily address is what it's going to be next year, what the cost is going to be, and are there going to be any other obligations on either party to, are they going to change? So, again, my recommendation is to take out the automatic renewal portion, leave in the termination possibility on 30 days written notice, and I can work with RJ to get that accomplished. But to answer your question is, if you want it to automatically renew, it doesn't have to come back.
Okay,
It'll just keep going on until you stop it. So,
okay.
So that's obviously a concern, and I think we should do that. That's my personal opinion, to follow our attorney's direction. And then the other question I have is, we need to tap in some appropriation funds, like as quickly as possible. And if RJ is, I think he's going to be approved. So when can he actually tap into or ask for monies, or we need his recommendation as far as what can we get even for the property that we just purchased? And it may be too early, I don't know, but I think we need to tap into some appropriation
Myself and
dollars.
Megan Wetford, we have time set aside tomorrow afternoon to complete the appropriation forms. The reason they have not been completed is because we weren't sure if we would be submitting them through Shoemaker, or submitting them through the new lobbyist.
Right.
So we've kind of put it on hold. And then we submitted to the commission the top 5 items, and those are the 5 that we're going to move forward with.
I want to say this, just for clarification, because we can all meet with our lobbyist and we can all have conversations with our lobbyist, but I would like to remind us all that when we are talking about what we want, we do that collectively as a group, not individually. So if I want something, I need to come here and have that discussion with all of you, and we as a group have to agree that's what we're going for. We do not get to individually have agendas for the lobbyists to work on. There was some discussion about that in a previous meeting, and we can all have conversations. I talk to the city manager, I talk to the directors in the city and get information and get educated, but I don't ever tell them what to do. I don't tell the city manager how to do his job or what to do. When we have a lobbyist, we can meet with the lobbyist, we can get the lobbyist to help us best understand what the city could get, but then when you want the lobbyist to do something, that decision has to be made and voted on here.
True, but also he needs to come back with ideas.
Absolutely.
It's not just us telling him.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we're going to
Absolutely.
depend on him.
I just want us to be mindful that we work as a team, not individually, is all.
Absolutely.
So
So
do we have a motion?
well, he has to agree that he can start tomorrow, and so I think we need to ask him that question.
so let me just read out the first paragraph, see if RJ is in agreement, and if the commission's in agreement, then you can approve it. So RJ, I'm suggesting the first paragraph, yeah, if you'd step up, please. So I'm proposing that the first paragraph of your agreement read as follows. This agreement shall be effective from November 13th, 2025 through November 12th, 2026. The agreement may be terminated by either party upon 30 days written notice.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And then every year we would just do a new,
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
and he would bring it to our attention, it's about to expire, kind of thing, maybe 60 days in advance, and then you can address it again. And I'm sure he's going to want to address the fee, because that fee is so much lower than everybody else. I'm sure that that will be touched upon,
okay.
so.
So do we have a motion?
So it would just be a motion to approve the contract with the amendments suggested by Trask and agreed to by Mr. Myers.
Well, I think we need to make sure that RJ understands the task before him, that we're coming up against the deadline, and we need to try to hurry up and.
So I will make time tomorrow, and we'll go through the list of projects, and we'll have a discussion of like what our best, what the best avenues will be, and where we could be most effective. With a handful of them, yeah.
We're going to count on you. You're a homegrown person, so we're going to tap into you every minute.
I'm not going to let you guys down.
So having said that, I can go ahead and make a motion to approve RJ Myers' contract for between November 25th, tomorrow, right? 13th to, yeah. Give me a date.
He said you could say per Trask's
Per
recommendations. and
Trask,
RJ's
okay,
agreement.
per Trask, Commissioner, I'm sorry, Attorney Trask's recommendation.
Do we have a second?
A second.
I just want to make sure there's no public comment. City Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Gabai,
Yes.
Commissioner McGinn,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Kerr,
No.
Commissioner Taglerini,
Yes.
Mayor Brooks.
Yes.
The motion carried 4-1.
Mayor, before we move on, I just want to remind you now, you have a lobbyist right now. You have a contract with that lobbyist, so we need to follow through with the termination of the current lobbyist. So he's going to work for another 30 days or so if we give the notice tomorrow. So you're going to have both of them working at the same
Yes.
time. Okay. So do we have direction then for the city manager to go ahead and issue that letter to Shoemaker?
Can we get a motion to have a letter of termination issued to our existing lobbyist?
I'd like to make a motion to send a letter to Shoemaker for the termination.
Do we have a second?
A second.
City Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Gabai,
Yes.
Commissioner McGinn,
Yes.
Commissioner Taglerini,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Kerr,
No.
Mayor Brooks.
Yes.
The motion carried 4-1.
Marcy? Not about this. Oh. Okay. Next on the agenda is Resolution 2025-11, fiscal year 2025 budget amendment 2.
I'll go ahead and read that resolution first. So this is Resolution 2025-11, a resolution of the Board of Commissioners of the City of Madeira Beach, Florida, amending the budget for fiscal year 2025, October 1, 2024 through September 30th, 2025, by increasing appropriations for expenditures in the general fund and providing for an effective date. That was a reading of Resolution 2025-11 by title only.
I have no additional comments unless you have questions.
Do we have any public comment? Commissioners, do you have any questions or comments?
No comment.
I don't have any either. Do we have a motion?
I recommend approval. I move that we approve Resolution 2025-11.
Do we have a second?
Second.
City Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Taglerini,
Yes.
Commissioner Gabai.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Kerr,
Yes.
Commissioner McGinn,
Yes.
Mayor Brooks.
Yes.
The motion carried 5-0.
Next on the agenda is Resolution 2025-12, reimbursement of capital expenditures. City Attorney?
Thank you, Mayor. This is Resolution 2025-12, a resolution of the City of Madeira Beach, Florida, establishing its intent to reimburse certain capital expenditures incurred with proceeds of a future financing or financings, providing certain other matters in conjunction or connection herewith, providing for severability, providing for repeal, or providing for an effective date. That was a reading of Resolution 2025-12 by title only.
I have no additional comments unless you have questions.
Do we have any public comment? Commissioners, any questions or comments?
No comments. No questions.
We have a motion.
I would like to adopt Resolution 2025-12.
Do we have a second?
Second?
City Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Gabai,
Yes.
Commissioner Taglerini,
Yes.
Commissioner McGeehan,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Kerr,
Yes.
Mayor Brooks.
Yes.
The motion carried 5-0.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is the agenda setting for December 10th, 2025 BOC workshop. So this date will change to 2 p.m.? I guess we don't have to do that right now. We could just set the agenda.
Oh, we're all the way at the bottom already.
So the only thing you have on here so far, City Manager, is the intent concerning non-conforming structures. Do you think that indeed will be the only thing we discuss at that workshop? The only thing that was suggested to me that we could discuss, if that's all we're discussing, is the results or the outcome of our 2 workshops on the property, just as a general discussion
Yeah,
between us
absolutely.
to find out.
Marcy, can you speak on the non-conforming structures?
Yeah, so the reason we wanted to bring that to the workshop is there's a caveat in our code, our non-conforming section is making things a little bit difficult for the hurricane relief permitting, so there's some things we wanted to clean up in there. But there's also one thing we want to bring up is that is the section where there is an 18-month limitation on when post-storm, when people start pulling permits to begin the recovery process. The way our code reads is at the 18-month mark, if you have not started making those repairs and stuff, it triggers floodplain compliance. So we wanted to make sure we start workshopping that and figure out if we want to make any adjustments to our code. We're not the only community that has it, so we just wanted to bring that forward. But speaking of the town hall, I did want to clarify something because I was speaking with Kimley Horn. They'll be providing storyboards for the town hall meetings, but they're not necessarily going to be doing any presentations or anything like that. That will be done by city staff. They're just going to give us some, like I said, storyboards to use and the means and methods by which to do that. So they just wanted to make sure that, we understood that. And they will be present there to listen to what we're talking about, to take over to the strategic planning and things like that.
Awesome.
Just to clarify.
Okay, so I guess we could move on to reports and correspondence. Board of Commissioners, I would just like to say that the Court of Honor event for veterans was amazing. It was nicely attended, and it was, I have gotten so much feedback from people who saw the flags and just are so impressed that the city completed and took on the project, and it is beautiful. And it was really special to have our fire department and commissioner stand at each military flag for the raising. It was special, very, very special. And as a reminder for anyone who's still watching, because it's not 8:30 yet, that we have a workshop Saturday at 10 a.m. for the new property.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I just like to also state that Representative Cheney was there as well as, or Senator DeSigley. Just wanted to thank them as well for being out there and supporting us.
Nice.
And also the American Legion
Yeah.
here in Madeira Beach. Thank you very much for participating. Thank you.
Any correspondence or comments? No. The next on the agenda is the Board of Commissioners 2025 BOC meeting schedule for November and December. And I think the question is, does anybody have any conflicts with the dates?
Not till we get to 26.
Okay. So then for next is Board of Commissioners 2026 BOC meeting schedule for January through December.
Mayor, I was going to request a change in day for January 28th, but if we could move the time, I know now it's a workshop. I know now our workshops are at 4. If we could move it earlier, then I wouldn't have to change the date. If we don't want to come earlier, say 2 o'clock, my
I
request.
personally would love to come at 2 o'clock.
So I'm requesting that we either move the time to 2 o'clock on the 28th or move the whole meeting to the 21st.
I mean, you want to do 2 o'clock or you want to do?
I'm available anytime. I'm flexible as far as that goes.
I'd be okay with 2 o'clock.
If we keep it at 2 on the 28th, then we still have a week between our meeting
And that.
and our regular meeting and our workshop.
Now, but all of our meetings for 2026 are going to change the workshops to 4 o'clock?
We'll have that changed.
It looks like you're okay with it moving into 2 o'clock on the
2 o'clock.
Yep. Great. Thank you very much.
See?
We used to have them at 2 a long time ago.
And then next is the Board of Commissioners 2025 BOC meeting report, January through October.
That one is just informational. And I did add the communications with the mayor in there.
I like that report, Clara. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Next on the agenda is the city clerk report.
We have the qualifying period coming up, and that starts December the 1st. It's always the first 2 weeks in December. Starts at noon on December the 1st, and it ends on Friday, December the 12th at noon, excluding weekends. And I did put on there that each day it starts at 8:30 besides the first day, because the doors don't open until 8:30, so that's good. And I have the 2 sitting commissioners, Vice Mayor Kerr and Commissioner Taglerini. They pre-qualified and out getting their signatures. I've got 1 signatures already, and I'm holding those until the first day of qualifying.
Thank you. Do we have any public comment? Next on the agenda is city attorney.
I don't have anything tonight. Thank you very much, though.
Thank you. Then we will move on to the city manager.
All right, Mayor and Commission, I do have one item. There was the policies and procedures that outlines, a complaint against an employee and what have you, but there was a complaint against a charter officer. That complaint was sent to all of you. I just need direction on how to move forward with this. It can either be unfounded. You can provide direction to investigate this further. It was provided to you all for the sake of, saving this employee's integrity and anonymity. So, just needed a direction.
Commissioners?
Wouldn't that go in front of the civil service?
No, not a charter officer.
And that's where it was confusing, because it does outline how to handle it for a regular employee, not a charter officer. And I got direction from Labor Attorney Eschenfelder on how to move forward with this.
If we ask you to investigate further, do you have a process for that?
I would go to a third party such as, I don't want to butcher Daynalt's name, but I believe that you're able to do that process, your firm?
We would, but we probably wouldn't want to.
Okay.
Because of our current relationship with the city.
Okay.
But we could provide you with the name of an attorney that would do it.
Okay.
Now, in the city charter, it says, like for internal, that the commission can appoint a charter officer like the city manager.
Mm-hmm.
It does have a procedure for that in the charter.
Well, I'm going to say, I've done the one-on-one. I've researched this myself personally. I believe, in my personal opinion, it's unfounded, and we should move forward with the city issues at hand. Thank you.
I'm in agreement with Commissioner McGeehan.
Commissioners?
I would concur.
Commissioner?
Well, I would like to hear both sides, and I'd like to know more about it, frankly. All I have is the complaint.
So, Attorney Trask, can the commission individually look into the complaint and have the conversation with the affected party, or?
So I think Rob's direction was no.
No?
You obviously, each individual can talk to your charter officials as you wish, but as for private investigation by each one of you individually, I think the answer should be no.
Okay, so we have 3 commissioners that have said they do not want an investigation. And
How would that even? Just go to a vote. How would that even be? You'd hire an attorney to start.
to do an investigation.
We're going to spend money on, well, we've all read the email, we've all done the one-on-one. I'm just, in my personal opinion, it's not worth the money right now, and we have more priority issues at hand, so that's my opinion.
So, but this complaint is going to be on the record. We're just not going to, if we decide not to do anything about it, the complaint would still remain in the record. Is that correct?
If the commission does not want to move forward with it, basically, the commission is basically saying it's unfounded, so it's closed, the
So it'd
matter's
be hearsay.
closed.
Okay, all right. I'm okay with that.
Then I
I
say,
believe we need a motion and a vote.
so do we have a motion?
I make a motion that the presentation against our city clerk was unfounded.
Do we have a second?
Second.
City Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner McGeehan,
Yes.
Commissioner Gabayie,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Kerr. Yes. Commissioner Taglerini,
Yes.
Mayor Brooks.
Yes.
The motion carried 5-0.
And that is it for me.
Okay, thank you very much. We had no original, at the beginning, public comment, so with nothing further, it is 8:33. We are adjourned.
Thank you.